He never got the chance to take his first step, never got the chance to say his first words, never got the chance to celebrate his first birthday.
She was told he was asleep inside his car seat before leaving.
Me not thinking of it because it was rainy, I just took my baby to the house because I didn't want my child to get sick. So when I went in the house, I uncovered the...
How much money do you need? What kind of reward do we need to raise for you to stop protecting somebody who would...
Baby Kayson Flowers was just 2 months old when his life was tragically cut short. He was the only child of his mother, Kayla Flowers, and had been welcomed into a loving family and church community on Chicago's South Side. In fact, Kayson was baptized at Roseland Christian Ministries just 1 month before his passing. Loved ones described him as a beautiful baby with chubby cheeks who clearly adored his mother. His brief life had only just begun, surrounded by family and faith, making what happened next all the more heartbreaking. Starting around April 19th, Kayson went to stay with his father for about a week. This was meant to be a normal visit with a close family member, a chance for his father to bond with the infant. There were no immediate concerns reported during that week. However, that routine family visit ended in heartbreak. On the morning Kayson was returned home, Saturday, April 26, 2025, according to initial reports, the infant arrived unresponsive at his mother's residence on the 200 block of West 106th Street in the Roseland neighborhood. Kayla later recounted that a close family member from the father's side brought Kayson back in a stroller, telling her that the baby was just sleeping. It was raining that morning, and not wanting to disturb him in the bad weather, Kayla hurried the stroller inside without immediately unbundling her son. But when she removed the cover to check on Kayson, she found him lifeless, not breathing, and in an instant, a young mother's worst nightmare became reality. Kayla sprang into action. She and her relatives rushed Kayson to Roseland Community Hospital just minutes away, but it was already too late. There was nothing they could do to revive the infant. Medical staff informed the family that based on Kayson's condition, he had likely been deceased for 6 to 8 hours prior to even reaching the hospital. In other words, the baby may have passed long before he was returned to his mother that morning. This revelation was devastating. It suggested that somebody knew something was wrong with Kayson well before Kayla discovered him. The mother herself was inconsolable. She had trusted her child in the care of others, only to have him come back unresponsive. According to a local pastor, when Kayla called him in hysterics that day, she cried out that her son was gone and he was black and blue. This indicated visible bruises on his tiny body, a horrifying sign that this was no ordinary medical emergency.
My son didn't deserve that. He was only 2 months. 2 months. He can't fight back.
In mere weeks after giving birth, this new mother's hugs and kisses for her only child, Kayson Flowers, have turned into sudden heartache.
This is heartbreaking for me, seeing my child in that condition.
23-year-old Kayla Flowers says after being in the care of someone else for over a week, she picked up her 2-month-old son on April 28th. She says she was told he was asleep inside his car seat before leaving.
Me not thinking of it because it was rainy, I just took my baby to the house because I didn't want my child to get sick. So when I went in the house, I uncovered the stroller in the car seat. My baby was lifeless.
Seeing him in that condition, just lifeless, break our heart every single day.
Kayson was supposed to be here.
In the aftermath of Kayson's passing, the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office conducted a full autopsy to determine exactly what happened. The results were grim. They discovered that Kayson had multiple injuries consistent with severe child ab. These traumatic injuries were far beyond anything explainable by an accident. They were the type of injuries an infant should never suffer. Based on these findings, the medical examiner ruled Kayson's passing a homie caused by multiple injuries due to child ab. Detectives from the Chicago Police Department's Special Victims and Homie units began working to piece together the timeline and verify who was responsible for Kayson's fatal injuries. They learned that the 2-month-old had been in the care of his father and possibly other relatives for days leading up to the incident, as previously mentioned. The focus naturally turned toward that period when the baby was away from his mother's care. According to the family, the relative who dropped off Kayson that day vanished afterward and has not been seen since. However, police have not publicly named this individual or any suspect at this time. Investigators are treating this case with great care, I hope, gathering evidence from the autopsy, the father's household, and any witnesses to build a clear picture of how Kayson's injuries were inflicted.
Chicago police say 2-month-old Kayson Flowers was found unresponsive inside a home at 106 near Wentworth in the Roseland neighborhood. While police initially said this was on April 26th, the family tells us this was on April 28th. Family members say that day they rushed him to Roseland Hospital just minutes away, but sadly, he didn't make it. As detectives continue their investigation, the community is now starting to step in.
The family's holding strong. They have a tight family, a good family, a family that supports each other. But as you said, this is a horrific, horrific crime.
After losing her only child, Kayla was left grief-stricken and even needed counseling to cope. In media interviews and appearances, the young mother has been clear about one thing. She will not rest until justice is done for Kayson. Family members echo Kayla's grief and resolve. Kayson's aunt, Megan Flowers, described the pain of losing him and the sight of her little nephew's body. The Roseland community rallied around the family, refusing to let the tragedy pass in silence. On the evening of May 27, 2025, about a month after his passing, a candlelight vigil was held at Roseland Christian Ministries, where the family attends church. Community members, church leaders, friends, and even concerned strangers gathered to honor the short life of baby Kayson and demand justice on his behalf. Many in the crowd held signs or wore shirts that said "Justice for Kayson," determined to keep attention on the case. Kayla stood surrounded by supportive family and her pastor as she tried to speak about her son. Overwhelmed with emotion, she leaned on her loved ones for strength. Pastor Joe lamented during the vigil, emphasizing how deeply unfair and senseless this loss was. At the vigil, the family also made impassioned pleas for anyone with knowledge of the crime to come forward. Additionally, Roseland Christian Ministries initially offered a $5,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction. By the end of the vigil, that amount had grown to $7,500 thanks to additional contributions. Church members and leaders hoped that this reward might compel anyone with a key tip to speak up, even if anonymously.
Judy, this is really a community helping its own. The family of that baby boy is actually church members of Roseland Christian Ministries, the church now backing that family in their calls for justice.
This is heartbreaking for me, seeing my child in that condition. I want justice for my son. We all gonna say his name. I'm not gonna rest until I get justice.
We made that promise that we're going to care for him in life, and then after his death we said, no, that promise extends even further. We're going to care for him as well. And so we're going to make sure that the person who did this is brought to justice. It's our way of loving Kayla and Kayson by saying that we're going to stick with you until there's justice. Now is the time to speak. Justice cannot wait. Say that. Justice cannot wait.
Justice cannot wait. Church members and the family are now offering a $7,500 reward for any information leading to an arrest.
And I guess what we're asking you tonight, whoever you are, who saw something, who heard something, who knows something, how much money do you need? What kind of reward do we need to raise for you to stop protecting somebody who would a baby to death?
So far, no one has been arrested in this case.
Officials also spoke generally about the case at the vigil and in media. They reiterated that Chicago police detectives are actively investigating and that no arrests or charges have been made as of this video. I will be following the outcome of this case, and I do hope that clarity and justice are served. May the family and friends of Kayson Flowers find solace in the happy memories, and may his soul rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.